Midnight Mormons, mature and childish.
Cult apologia, of course.
I knew you come across as a sweet guy. You kind of like look like Shermie the elf from Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Don't like to make toys.
You know, naive people doing naive things to try to justify belief.
Kwaku L, Cardon, Ellis, and Brad Witbeck, and then Midnight Mormons, where they get even more vicious and cruel.
Then they fought us.
You are going to be tarred with the same brush as these two, and it will not be good for you any more than it already is.
Because you don't need 20 friends, you just need 3 motherfuckers. You can take over a country. Okay, that's what we're confused as Americans. We think we need all these motherfuckers. You give me 3 bad motherfuckers, and you're finished. You understand me? You're fucking finished.
Brace yourself for another episode of...
That's something that has been concerning me a little bit in the ex-Mormon world. When you leave the moral framework of Mormonism, sometimes you let go of some principles and ideas that, even though they're found in Mormonism, they're not unique to Mormonism, but they're still really important for us to get along in the messiness of life, and forgiveness and grace are a big part of that.
We have a rising generation that is struggling with very difficult questions and are looking for answers.
I know this video is going to get people getting mad at me. I get really nervous when you look off camera like that, Kwaku. Siaka's bringing up a really good point. He says, I want to judge a man for exactly...
Whoa, hey, Cardon.
What?
Chill.
Now, here's where it gets weird, okay?
Ignition in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey, everybody, what's up? We're here. How's it going, guys? Welcome to the Midnight Mormons live stream. I am your host, Cardon Ellis, and I'm joined in the studio today by Kwaku L.
Hello.
As well as Brad Witbeck and Jacob Hansen from ThoughtfulFaith.com. How you doing, dude? Welcome.
Faith.com.
Oh, yes.
Come on.
Thoughtful with a dash of faith. Okay, cool.
So, yeah, okay, cool. So, yeah, dude. Crazy. You like the new intro?
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot. Can I just say that, like, look, that ex-Scientologist dude, Chris Shelton, look,
yeah.
I admit that. Oh, I was like, what's going on? Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
That's I'm playing us. As okay.
Yeah,
what is that, buddy? That guy is like, I don't know everything about Scientology. I'm not a part of their thing. I think they're nice people. Their aesthetic's kind of cool. L. Ron Hubbard's history is low-key kind of like, that's going to be a really cool biopic, you know, when that movie comes out. Whichever actor gets to play him, you know. But Chris Shelton was just such a tool.
Oh, you mean in my... with me?
I think
he got thrown off, right? I think I want to give him the benefit of the doubt because he came on thinking he was just going to be like reviewing something with Jonathan Streeter, and then he ended up actually talking to somebody.
No, he didn't think he was reviewing it. He came out guns blazing, saying there were a bunch of cult apologists, naive people doing naive things to justify.
I know, but I don't think he would have been that mean if he had like seen you face to face before he started talking.
Okay,
you know,
but
like
also at a certain extent, though, doesn't like I really, really worry about like where our society is going, where it's like literally he himself said, I had not seen any of the content.
Uh-huh.
And he went in there automatically assuming just that level of presupposition is the most toxic thing you do. And I know this
I
because
totally agree with you on that.
He's a negative Nancy.
Yeah, he was being incredibly
the
negative.
sad thing is he's living up to every negative stereotype that we saw in the video on suppressive people. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I didn't even know what that term was until like 30 seconds
I know what that was
before.
till I met you. I get it. Like, look, also, hey, Chris Shelton, you're mean and a tool. And you know what? You're not as handsome as Tom Cruise, who's in Top Gun, and he's a Scientologist. So who am I supposed to pick, huh?
Oh my
Tom
gosh.
Cruise or you?
Okay,
That's your measure of who you should listen to.
I think what you're trying to say is that
I said exactly what I meant.
Let me dial this down really fast before, like, we're here to talk about us and our stories, all right? But I think what you're trying to say is that, you know, you have to have at least basic kindness, all right? You know what I'm saying? Like just basic kindness, or else I don't know. The scoreboard right now is definitely in a very odd way, at least just in that first impression and being nice. If we were to put up a scoreboard between Scientologists and anti-Scientologists or whatever they call themselves, it would be 1-0.
Yeah.
And that's not good.
And here's the thing. Who has he talked to about Mormons before us, right?
Yeah.
He was on John DeLynne's podcast. So that's obviously going to miscolor what he thinks of us. So we're already starting off on a very bad common ground. So I think we could find common ground with Chris Shelton if we had the time to actually sit down and chat with him. I don't know if like that already tanked it.
You're invited, Chris. I don't know why it would tank it, because literally I was just thrown like cannon fodder in front of a bunch of angry people that hated me. Actually, an angry person that hated me that hadn't met me like 5 minutes ago. And all of a sudden, I'm like, I literally thought I'd just be talking about like, guess what we did on Sunday afternoon. You know what I'm saying?
That was what we were doing. And they like blew it so out of proportion. They made it seem like we're saying Scientology is the way. It's like, no, guys, we are very much a LDS show talking about having
they have
basically
a big shiny building in downtown LA.
It's painted blue.
We visited.
Of course, I walked in,
blue.
and they were dressed as sailors, and we held cans. That's a fun experience. I want to talk about it. And now Chris Shelton's like, you must be demonic. Like, shut up.
And
shut up.
The only problem with that is also, let's just say we want to go to the Buddhist temple, all right? And as we know, you know, are we all of a sudden saying we're endorsing the human rights violations committed by Mao Zedong during the Cultural Revolution just because we talked to some Buddhist monks? Or are we saying that, you know, we endorse the Japanese Empire's invasion of Manchuria and the torture of U.S. soldiers with bayonets in 1943 because we go to a Shinto visitor center and, you know, like grab a pamphlet, you know what I'm saying, and see what Shinto is all about? Like, at some point, the social fabric has to be thicker than pettiness. And this isn't just pettiness, like really dangerous pettiness. Like if you can't give decency to somebody you've never met nor seen what they have to say, and all you know is that they had some tangential thing to do with something you hate, that you will literally go out and say cult apologia, okay, which means merciless defense without any appeal to reason. And then naivete on top of that.
See, I think he just really wanted an excuse to use that word. And so he's like, I'm throwing it out there. I see the chance. Cult apologia, here it is, right? They want to color us as naive, and I think that's fine. Like, they can do that if they want to. They don't really know us.
So if we don't go out and talk with other people with different opinions, then we're closed-minded. But then if we do go out and talk with other people of different beliefs and traditions
and have any positive opinion of them, then we're naive and being brainwashed, obviously. Like,
this is when I said these are the new monks and priests of the secular church. You read what we write, you hate who we hate, you do exactly what we say. And if not, we'll come after you. And I'm so happy that the tide is turning now and people are fed up with wokeness. And it's everyone across the board. And so these people's time is coming to an end, and they can see the writing on the walls. And I'm sorry, nobody's interested in listening to podcasts where you talk about being a former version of who you were, a shell of your former self. Hey, my identity is I'm an ex this. That's lame. That's absolutely the lamest thing I could think of. all the cool new podcasts are people talking about cool, fun ideas. And these people know their time is coming. It's not 2010 anymore. Nobody's like, ooh, cults. I'm sorry. Like, we're in the age of freaking tarot cards and ancient aliens and all this stuff and wellness and essential oils. You're Chris Shelton, your stuff is lame. I just hate to say it. It's lame.
Okay, well, I had no idea this is what we were starting with. Like usually it's like so much cool stuff has happened that all of a sudden
I just wanted to say that for like a couple weeks.
It's just because Chris Shelton showed up in the intro. That's why.
Yeah,
that's why it got filled up.
Because we added that with
yeah.
Okay, I see what you're saying there. That's what primed it. So great. Now I got to go back into that intro, or else I'm going to get this every time we start. No, I'm just kidding. Well, there's something interesting. We got a little bit of pushback in the chat here, and I got a question for you. By the way, if you guys have any questions, we're a lot better at reading super chats, so please make sure you super chat us your questions. But Sketch a Day asked this question. He said, what is the, quote, secular church and who is the leader? What is the canon and what are the tenets? Wow, thanks for throwing us softball pitches. Who wants to take that one?
I have something written down.
And then, of course, we get the same garbage. Yawn. What does the LDS church compare to the bite model that is characteristic, unique to... This is why I have no faith in the intelligence of a lot of these so-called academic attacks of ex-Mormon, anti-Mormons, is they literally do have a canon. Like, he literally said, what is the canon in one comment, and then comes around and cites the third article of faith that according to the bite model, which is an acronym he probably could not even recite right now if he had to. You know what I'm saying? Or say what the actual tenets are. He just knows that it exists, and somewhere on a bad blog somewhere it said that, and it's repeated ad nauseum in the ex-Mormon subreddit. But there is no academic set of qualifiers that says that the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is any way a cult.
What's a cult?
Other than you would have to say Catholicism is a Pope cult and a Jesus cult, or that Buddhism is a Southeast Asian cult. Like it's a pejorative that is cruel and mean, left over from the 19th century when they first started in the 1840s, calling the early Mormons Mormonites and saying it was a Joseph Smith cult. It's a cruel and mean thing to say, especially for a movement that claims to be the open-minded and kind alternative to religious dogma. There's no serious organization of law enforcement out there that says there's anything cultish about the people that show up and give you cookies when you move into their neighborhood.
Yeah.
Okay.
So here's the deal. There's someone was asking for a definition of the bite model in the chat, and so it's an idea that cults have this bite model, right? So BITE. They have behavioral control over their members and followers. They have information control over their followers. They have thought control over their followers, and they have emotional control.
Oh yeah, we got
followers.
thought control. That's why Julie Hanks is running around
Yeah.
saying what she's saying, while freaking Thoughtful Face making videos challenging every one of those ideas, and everybody's blowing up in the comments. Yeah, because we got such good thought control.
First,
you know,
I'm happy you brought that up because that literally fits the wokest secular church to a T.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It very much does. Like to whoever, I can't remember who it was who posted this, the Sketch a Day, was that it? I would just say something controversial on Twitter, right? Say something that you know people will disagree with you on Twitter, and see what happens to you. And see how you get treated by the people there, right? Yeah. And see how that behavioral control happens and the pressure that happens when you say something that gets disagreed with by the people that you tend to be part of with here. Because I think if you're going to define the church as a cult by the bite model, you have to define any political party as a cult by the same definition. Like
my children's preschool would be a cult according to the bite model. The National Guard would be a cult.
Yeah.
The Border Patrol would. The Boy Scouts of America
Almost
would.
any institution.
My local scuba diving club, because they tell me that I'm not allowed to go above a certain level in the ocean before I get nitrogen sickness, and I have to stay there and do a decompression stop. They would consider that behavioral control, thought control. No, like, I don't know. These are not serious people.
This is it's a totally arbitrary definition, and you're right. It's way too broad. It appeals to, I think, almost every institution to some extent tries to alter your behavior. Like we're in an institution, we're trying to, I always use the analogy of kind of like play a game, right? And if you're going to play a game, you're going to have parameters that control people's behavior and that can potentially control information. And so it's, the church doesn't, and the other thing is how does it control it? The church invites you to do these things voluntarily. And so is that control? To say, hey, please come and make covenants with God to live a certain way voluntarily? Is that, or are you saying you were voluntarily signing up to follow Christ and therefore we want to behave these ways? I don't know. I think it's a ridiculous definition.
No, you're right. So we got some really funny.
It just gets applied. Like the bite model is a useful thing. It's a useful tool, but I think it gets misapplied a lot by people. And I think Sketch a Day, I'm sorry, we might be in the vein of thinking about Chris Shelton here and maybe taking
put
a
us in
little
a
bit
bad
of
mood. Dang you, Chris.
and misunderstanding your tone here.
You know?
It's just when we hear, so if we want to talk about what the secular church is and who's the leader, who is the canon and the tenets, I don't think that there's like a de facto leader of the secular church.
In North America, the secular church, the leader is the progressive wing of the Democrat Party.
Exactly.
Leftist activists. Like
it's not a person. It's not a singular
It's
person.
a political movement masquerading as religion.
The priests are the journalists and the influencers. The canon is the
1619 project.
I would say the canon is the open zeitgeist of verbiage that gets repeated over and over and over again.
And the redefinition of terms all over the place.
Redefining everything.
It's a form of information control.
So I would say that there's, I've heard this model of the theologian, the preacher, and then the practitioner.
Oh,
right?
interesting.
Within a church, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
I got it right here.
Within the woke sort of movement, who are the theologians? The theologians are the Ibram Kendis. The theologians are the Angela Davises.
Oh, interesting.
These are the people who are really getting into these deep philosophical ways of viewing the world through this hard secular lens, the Michel Foucaults. And then their sort of ideas get picked up.
Yeah, Michel Foucault is their Isaiah, right?
Yes, essentially.
Well, check this out, dude. Like I want this to tie in with what you're saying.
Uh-huh.
But I see these all over my hometown, and you can buy them on Amazon. In this house, we believe. And then they list all of the woke content. Now, there's 5 different versions of the sign, but we've all seen the black background with all these multicolored things. That Black Lives Matter. Women's rights are humans' right. No human is illegal. Science is real. Love is love. Kindness is everything.
These are open-ended, like purposefully crafted terms where nobody's going to disagree with that. But this isn't what they mean. This is, in this house, we believe science is real. Meaning, if you say anything or believe in anything that opposes the politicized version of a narrative put out by those representing the WHO or CDC, then you are violating the commandments.
So you have the theologians who teach this stuff. You have the preachers out there who are popularizing this stuff through culture and media and politics and pundits. And then you have the practitioners who put those signs in their yard. They might not understand all the nuances of critical theory, but they practice the orthodoxy of this new secular religion in their life and in their worldview.
And then, I mean, look at this. It keeps going down. They say, we believe Black Lives Matter. Yes, of course, even Russell Nelson came up and said, yes, life matters. Big tenet of the faith, okay? But BLM Inc. now, having been exposed as bragging about being cultural and, quote, trained Marxist, saying the dissolution of the family was a main objective. Patrice Cullors buying house upon house in the wealthiest neighborhoods of my freaking hometown. Topanga Canyon's only 20 minutes from our studio, okay?
So
and women's rights are human rights. They don't mean women's rights, no. My great-great-great-grand aunt, Clara Barton, fought for women's suffrage. Fought for it. The Republican Party is an abolitionist and suffragette party, okay? But they're not saying women's rights are human rights. They're saying anything we want to do in the name of women, if you don't believe with it, if you're not on board with it, you're a human rights violator.
What's a woman?
Oh, God. don't get my... the fact that we all go, is YouTube going to take this down because you asked that basic question? You know what I'm saying? Just really shows. So whoever this was, I don't even remember the name, but whoever it was that thought that they'd be snarky in the comments, you know what I'm saying? And throw it in our face. Oh, Sketchaday.
I don't think they were being snarky.
I
think they were trying
What
to...
is the canon? Okay, fine. Maybe they weren't. And maybe I've just adopted the language of my accusers. You know what I'm saying? But, wow. What's funny is Sketchaday. Man, you better start super chatting these, brother. But asked another question. How does the epistemology of faith differ from science, and which is better / more reliable? Oh,
we just did an episode on that, actually.
We did a standalone video on that. So
coming soon.
Boom, coming soon. Okay. We got a chat here from Jonah Barnes. Man.
Yeah, Jonah, you're the bomb.
You want to read it, dog?
Yeah,
Is
it
it
says,
on your laptop?
No question. I just love you guys. Never stop rocking.
Boom.
Thanks, man.
Don't stop.
We love all your comments, Jonah. It's awesome. It's awesome.
Real. So anyway,
no.
Yeah, I worry about this,
someone
dude.
was asking about a couple of commenters said, "Look, I'm conservative and agnostic." So it's not just people who aren't conservative who are also not believing in God, right? So do we have any response to that?
So repeat that question.
So they're saying, hey, look, do we have anybody, or like we have several people commenting, I'm a conservative who's agnostic. So how do we account for that?
Well, first off, let's define
because we're talking about the
agnostic.
secularist church. We're kind of defining it based mostly off of
you can't
leftist
be secular
stuff.
conservative. Like it's actually really interesting when you study like the scientific method and the scientific approach that we got out of the 18th to 20th century that led to what people now say science is when they're quoting these flags saying science is real and so on and so forth, okay, is really just an extension of Christian ideals that were propagated during the Enlightenment, all right? And conservatism is really just the practical application of natural and Christian law, if you really think about it. And so you can't say that, oh, I'm a fiscal conservative and I believe in saving for a rainy day, because that's an adage we all can agree on without going to church, right? Well, no. The idea of saving for a rainy day actually comes from the law of the harvest in the Bible and the concept that, you know, we have talents that are given us in order to help our community and so on and so forth. Anything that is virtuous, lovely, of good report and praiseworthy, we seek after these things. Like, people don't realize the font from which all of these ideas spring, because we are that detached from the font. So you can't just say you like living on this river and saying, you know, I'd love to live on this river without actually having to, you know, believe in freshwater springs.
So
until you hike 20 miles up the river and find the freshwater spring from whence everything came. And if you all of a sudden say the freshwater spring isn't real, if you can magically make it dissolve, the river goes away.
So conservatism is an interesting word because it means to, obviously you're talking about conserving
modern
something.
American conservatism is actually
and that's the thing.
Classical liberalism.
Well, that's the thing. We are conserving the principles. If you're in the United States, you are conserving a classical liberal tradition, which goes back to, in our country, to conserve. If you're conserving anything, you are conserving the principles of the founding, which are the principle that says that these truths are self-evident, that we get rights from where? From God. Yeah. And so there is inherent in the American system a belief that our rights come from a source higher than ourselves. And so to be a conservative that does not believe in God, I'm sort of like, well, what are you conserving? Right? Like, where are these rights you say, where do they come from? Like, you can't be a conservative conserving those principles without it.
Conservative too, which is crazy. But like, I mean, I'm a UBI advocate, for heaven's sakes, which actually, ironically, is the most conservative way of approaching modern economics, but it's perceived as liberal and is, you know,
these are limiting labels.
Yeah.
Is it true? Is it true? Is it false? I don't care if it's conservative. I don't care if it's liberal.
So we got
left.
some good questions.
It's just true or false.
We're going to prioritize a couple of these questions here, because thank you everybody that responded to the community post that we put up where you asked us some questions. And by the way, some of these are just plain old funny. Okay. Some are really interesting. You guys can choose whether or not you want to jump on these, but I have a question, says Anthony Maggie. were there 2 Holy Ghosts, one prior to the Savior and one after Christ's baptism? This is actually a very interesting question that I've seen floated around in other scenarios as well.
Especially because of the way that Jesus the Christ talks about the Holy Ghost not functioning the same way that it always has during Christ's mortal ministry.
Yeah. Well, let's burn through these really fast and we'll see which ones we want to jump on, okay? But who are you debating? Says Thinker of Thoughts. Sorry, that was actually I put up the thumbnail for the old debate one because that was actually an accident. It's not a debate question. I should have said wanted live stream questions. JFK or 9/11? That's always a good one. I think there was a second shooter. We never got to hear Kwaku's story about casting out a goblin. That one you teased.
Oh, I could talk about,
That
you
one
know what I'm
was,
saying?
Have I not told that one?
I don't think you have.
You
Not
told
on an episode.
us, but you haven't told them.
Literal vampire potbelly goblins. I don't care if I sound crazy. I straight up saw a little goblin.
Paul Black brings up a really good question here. I've never put up the community post of who's your favorite Midnight Mormon because I'm afraid everybody would say Brad Witbeck, and just my ego can't handle that. You know what I'm saying? But they do say, just don't say anything that will get Brad disfellowshipped or worse. Have you ever worried about your official standing in the church by participating in Midnight Mormons?
Not at all.
Witbeck.
No, yeah. I haven't worried about my official standing in the church at all.
Okay.
I don't know why I would have to. Like,
okay.
I feel like, and that's an interesting question to me.
You know? Okay,
Yeah.
so... there was another really funny one. Our family put church leaders on team A and team B. Who's your A team?
What?
Oh, that's easy.
Oh, who's your A team, brother? Who's your A team?
Like, does it have to be the current quorum of the 12?
Oh, that's a good
or
question.
Like all of them?
Let's go current and then go historical.
All right.
I know who you're going to say. Can I guess?
Okay, cool.
Elijah Abel, because you want to play him in a film, so he's got to be a favorite. Lowry Nelson, Helmuth Huebner, and the guy that said things about ugly knees on people that you thought was really funny.
Wait, are we
Brigham
talking
Young.
about
You probably
apostles?
Marky Peterson?
We're talking about apostles, or because like Elijah Abel was a 70.
Oh yeah, you're right. He's more of a historical figure.
Yeah,
not a
I'm talking
leader.
about modern apostles. Oh yeah, Marky Peterson takes the cake of the funniest. I'm not a racist. I think every black man should own a Cadillac. Said that at the BYU address. Yes. And everyone there goes,
Run!
All these women dressing immodestly, showing their unshapely knees. It's like,
What was that, dude? Like, why? Why the knees?
This
of all
guy,
things?
that guy is the funniest dude.
He just said what he wanted to.
Yeah, that was back old school.
Like J. Golden Kimball gets more screen time, I think, because of his name. But Mark E. Peterson was.
Peterson also gave a whole talk once about. There was like a couple people that were saying that Adam God was having to resurface back in like the 60s or whatever. So there's an entire conference talk on Adam being Michael. And all the other conference talks are normal conference talks. How to better your family. How to eat. He goes, Adam is Michael. Let me tell you about Michael and let me tell you about Adam. And everyone's like, what the hell was the point of that? Like, what do you do?
Refreshments.
It's still online. It's like the
Refreshments.
strangest thing. And then it's almost up there with Boyd K. Packer's Little Factory.
Oh, that one is bad.
They're the life-giving serum will come out of your
Oh
pee-pee.
no, dude.
Oh, no.
jeez.
No.
Okay, I gotta know
What
in
is
the
this?
chat.
A factory for ants?
Okay, so I gotta know in the chat. Everybody in the chat, you gotta tell me. Are you familiar? There's a really funny YouTube supercut. Yeah, there's super chats. I'll get to them.
Yeah.
But there's a really funny cut by some obscure YouTube channel called like Orson Hyde or something like that on YouTube, where there's a highlight reel of the original conference talk of the Little Factory that is pure gold. They got this music behind it where it's going like boom, dum, boom, boom, dum, dum. And then Boy Cake Packer's getting up there. It's like, I regret to have to do this talk, but for the young men who may not have the people to tell them about the Little Factory. You know what I'm saying? And it is so bad, you know, that it's just like, oh my gosh. So anyway, here, let's hit up some of these super chats, man. You want to read it?
Yeah, sure. So we are.
BT Witbeck.
All right. Where are we at? Okay, so the Word of God exists and it has a definition. And one of those definitions is that which affects man and or nature, and therefore the universe fits the definition. Cool.
Okay, that wasn't the last one that I read. But
that one's back up a little bit.
Here we go. Okay, the word God exists and has a definition, and one definition is that which affects man and our nature, and therefore the universe fits its definition. Okay.
Yeah, we were talking about this earlier, actually.
That's AJ. AJ's like one of the freaking most awful, awesome, awesome watchers. I said awful watchers. What am I say? Awesome watchers. He's like literally watches all this stuff. He always has the best commentary too.
And so we were just talking about this earlier when we were getting
Sorry,
pizza.
you just got accidentally called awful.
Sorry, AJ. But we were just talking about this when we were getting some pizza. That like in some places where people are referring to God, sometimes it seems like they're referring to the laws of reality.
Yeah,
more so
eternal law.
Yeah, to eternal law itself more than God the Father himself. Because there are some ways that it's like, hey, this is kind of referring to eternal law. And that seems to be almost a little bit how some certain Christian denominations refer to God when they like talk about a impersonal, impassionate, like not unbodied God. That kind of fits the definition of a law.
We sort of have in our theology, from what I can tell, is a concept of God and eternal law. And eternal law and God, in my estimation, there's sort of this coexistence eternally between those. But what they do is they parse that off into, they just are talking about the eternal law side of it. Because their God ends up being something that can't really be personal.
Yeah. And I like that comment a lot because it talks about the word of God there and ties them together kind of. You can't pull those apart.
Well, also James E. Talmage said something really interesting in Jesus the Christ, where he said, God works through natural laws and created natural laws such as gravity, for example, right? However, just because gravity partially seems to not work for a temporary period of time, let's just say if something were made to levitate, okay, it's not because gravity ceased to work and science isn't real and gravity isn't real. It's because a force greater than it is operating upon the object for a brief period of time. In the same way that we may appear to defy gravity when we throw a ball up in the air, if someone were not able to see us, they would think that the ball was behaving against the laws of physics, against the laws of gravity, against the laws of logic and reason. But it's not that all these things have failed. It's just that a simple greater force for a period of time has operated upon them. So very interesting question.
But how can there be gravity if the Earth is flat? That's what I want to know.
Kwaku, we all know.
And hollow.
We all know the Earth is hollow, not flat.
It's a donut, dog. It's both flat and hollow.
Donut.
Oh my gosh.
The lizard people.
It's a CD.
Exactly.
That's who do it.
It's a CD.
It's a CD.
There it is.
That's
Okay,
true. We
CD
gotta start
Earth.
a new theater.
Okay.
Okay, so we got some other super chats.
Yeah,
Hit
so
it.
next one up. Next time someone brings up the bite model, I'm going to tell them to bite my...
Oh!
Yes, serious. Ask everyone's opinion on secret combinations.
Ooh,
secret combinations? The
that's-
Book of Mormon warns of them for a reason,
That
okay?
is a whole look. That right there is a 5 podcasts together.
Quake-
I can talk about
Quaku's gonna go off.
Jekyll Island and the human sacrifice.
The
I can talk
Bohemian
about
Grove.
Bohemian Grove, Titanic, how J.P. Morgan kind of funded Titanic to kill the
Dude, we're
three
literally
richest families.
flagging every YouTube algorithm terminology put forth on that website right now.
Oh, no.
Dude,
Oh, no.
Conspiracies, I think when we finally start to understand how conspiracies have corrupted our society, it will unite the honest people on the left and the right together.
And
it will
I
be
think
good versus bad.
And I think that there is stuff out there in conspiracy theories that is literally just out there to confuse people. So I think you've got to be
Anon.
very careful. Yeah, you got to be really careful in how you approach figuring these things out because I mean, there's secret combinations. They don't want to just be found out. You're not just going to find that information super easily, you know? But the Book of Mormon warns us of secret combinations for a reason. And I think the best cure, the best way to stand against secret combinations...
Shoot those bastards!
No!
No, eat them!
Eat them!
I'm going to eat my neighbors!
It is to live the gospel. To live the gospel yourself and to help others to do the same. And when we're all united in living the gospel, that's when we won't need to worry about the power of those secret combinations as much. Or be like the servant of Helaman and infiltrate them. But, I mean, there's a couple of
Ooh, who wants that job? You're skinny, Kwaku, and
They
you're
try.
buff.
Seth Rich.
Oh yeah?
What? Who's that?
The DNC staffer who was found dead after he shot himself in the back of the head in a park at night.
Oh, yeah. I remember that one. Hey, so keep going. We got to catch up on these super chats.
All
keep
right.
going, brother.
Next
Boom, boom,
up,
boom, boom,
thoughts
boom.
on Black Menaces at BYU. Also, Brad, you shaved the beard. So
Cry
I
face.
finished filming. I finished filming for the Book of Mormon videos, so I own my face again, and I need to get a passport photo. So I can't.
Are you allowed a beard on a passport photo or no?
You are,
Yeah.
but
Is it like the testing center at BYU?
well, when my beard is long, I get stopped by the TSA, right? When I'm going through, and so like,
Because if I'm gonna pick someone who looks like they're gonna blow up an airport,
it's me with a long beard, yeah. And honestly, in the stack of passports that mine goes next to, that's what they look like. Kind of like me with a long beard. And so it's like, yeah, I get it. I understand.
You
No,
look
but
like
you
the
smile all the time. That's the problem, though.
you look like the shoe bomber Richard Reed.
But yeah, so that's why the beard is, I'm free from it. Now I can eat food of my own accord. I don't have to use a straw. That mustache was so long. They're like, cut nothing. I'm like,
If they're
okay.
asking why I keep doing this, because I'm cold. That's why I keep doing this.
Oh, do we need to turn off the...
Oh, no, I'll push it down towards me because I am freaking... Oh, you know what?
And then
the
Black
mini
Menaces,
split
though. We need to...
blows over onto you. It blows over me.
Ah.
I'll fix that. You talk about... Finish answering his question. Thoughts on the
Oh.
Black Menaces at BYU?
Yeah, well, so I know a couple of them. Like I know Nate. I went to his wedding when he got married. I know like a couple of the Black Menaces. I know Rachel. She's my buddy's sister. They're nice. They're nice people. I think that I think their goal is, you know, I to be honest, I don't know what their goal is. I know their tagline says like the revolution will be televised, and you know they ask people questions. I don't
By the way,
know.
if you think the tip of the spear is of the revolution is like boring suburban colleges kids at BYU, you're televising the wrong revolution.
Well, now they have different chapters. They have a chapter at University of San Francisco. They have a chapter at Vanderbilt, Black Menaces. So their thing is quickly spreading. And I know that Sebastian, no, not Sebastian. One of the brothers on there, he had a project called Unified Allies for Change in Provo like 2 years ago during the BLM stuff.
Oh yeah.
And they had like a giant thing on Provo Center Street. So a lot of them have been
Wait,
involved
that's where the guy got shot in the SUV during the BLM march,
No,
right?
no, that
in
was like
Center
2
Street
weeks
Provi?
after. Yeah, it was in
Oh,
Center Street Provo. It was like 2 weeks after though. So
Okay.
like that was like they've been doing activist stuff for a while, and then their TikTok just really blew up. So I don't like. I know some of them. They're nice people. I think that they're obviously progressive. And
Yeah.
their beliefs
they're
are
beyond
progressive.
they're beyond progressive. They're
Yeah,
radical
they're radical.
revolutionaries, and I want to extend an invitation to the Black Menaces, any one of you, to come onto my podcast and to ask me the questions that you are asking to these BYU students who obviously are terrified of the enormous 500,000 followers that you have that are going to publicly shame them if they give the wrong answers.
That's true. Like,
I'm
at what
not
time
afraid
is
of
it
your
punching
mob.
down and bullying.
No,
at
They
what
are.
point
They're
is it-
full on bullies.
And it's
come talk to
interesting
me.
because they set it up in a way that like if you don't answer immediately, then you're bad because you're struggling to answer. But really, like you're saying, they're kind of just worried about what all of these people are going to say about anything that they say.
Also,
they have to think through what.
it is
Okay,
a
you
form
just
of
show up
ambush
to some
journalism.
random BYU kid.
It is ambush journalism.
Yeah, you
100%.
put a microphone in their face, and then you only get the ones that stutter and stammer. And also, why are you guys doing it that way? Like, come and talk to someone who actually knows what they're talking about. I have a video on the Black Menaces on my channel, and I want them to watch it, see if I've misrepresented them, and then come and talk to me. If you guys want to actually engage in serious discussions on these issues, then let's have a serious discussion. But that's not what they're doing. They're ambushing people to get a bunch of woke people online to make fun of them and shame them for believing in marriage, for any number of those issues that they bring up. So they are radical revolutionaries engaging in revolutionary
See,
tactics.
I don't even like saying that though, because I hate to say it, but to me that almost gives them too much power, and I don't want to like Radical revolutionaries, really. I think the guts of my grandparents who were holding stolen rifles from the enemy and engaging in Polish counterinsurgents during the occupation of Warsaw were revolutionaries. Not dudes with iPhones ambush journalisming on the safest, easiest going, chill, we won't fight back, but we'll make you cookies campus on the West, in the Western United States. Like, I don't know, that's just not brave. And I've really found that I know that oftentimes when people have lost the what, they criticize the how. So I don't do this too often, but I notice there's a common thread amongst anti-Mormons. And I'm not saying these guys are anti-Mormons, but they're behaving like them. And one of them is they will punch down on somebody and then call it punching up. Okay. And if you've got 500,000 followers and all of a sudden you're taking non-public figures, putting them on your feed in an embarrassing manner, that's punching down. John DeLynn punches down on us all the time. He's a 50,000 person channel punching down on a channel that's got less than 5,000. And all of a sudden he says he's the victim. You know what I'm saying? That kind of, honestly, fulfillment of prophecy, where it says in the latter days, bad things will be called good and good things will be called bad. You know what I'm saying? When you behave like that, it makes me think that you're not spouting truth, that you're spouting evil. Okay, so now I'm not completely familiar with them other than the 3 or 4 videos that I've seen.
Yeah.
But it seems like it's been woke talking points shoved in the face of people that may or may not. It seems like a purity test. Actually, that's what it seems like.
That is what it is.
It seems like they've been going around administering purity
We have
tests.
a witch burner.
My biggest issue with the TikTok is, well, one, it's okay. Like when you've had bad experiences, like I'll go to the bat and say I don't think Bill Reel is that good of a person. like from the experiences I've had with the guy, I don't like him as a person, nor do I like what he has to say. But when it's people you know, like these are actually not bad people, you know. And also it's like, okay, they're all around my age. These are like late teens, early 20s people. It's like,
sure, some of
you
them
know,
might
and
just
it's
be
like, you know, it is what it is.
immature
You know,
or
you
whatever.
but I do think my biggest issue with their TikTok is more so the comment section, and I don't see them curtail the comment section. And I think it becomes a weapon. It becomes, it's like they've taken cancel culture and they're using it to anyone who does not think exactly like them.
Yes.
Which is the opposite of diversity.
And
I say they're going for.
Yeah.
So that, like, when I start seeing, hey, look, don't attack this person because he stuttered a couple times, just because he said he voted for someone you didn't vote for. Like, that's not the way to do it. And every single comment section I see on any video that's LGBTQ related is to say, do you support, gay marriage? And if they say, yeah, because by the way, you know what my answer is when I've just gotten out of class, I'm hungry, I've been there class for 4 hours, I want to get to the Chick-fil-A line to grab something, but I know it's right here, and I see the haram of freshmen coming, and it's like, I had to get in the line before all 70 do. Hey, how do you feel about BLM? Sure. And like that's me. Like, come on, But even beside that, every comment when you look at an LGBT video, anyone who doesn't answer the exact way they want, the comments are, looks like someone's in the closet, or wow, such hate, 2022. Everything is, if you are not exactly the way we want, we will shame and harass and denigrate
Which,
you.
by the way, this is exactly what, ironically, you just remind me of.
And if you create a platform where
cyberbullying,
those are the people supporting you, at some point you have to ask, am I the baddies? Am I the baddies? Am I doing the wrong thing?
Yeah, because I think, and Kwaku, I think that they know how their comment section works. And I think they kind of design their questions for those comment sections.
Yeah,
I think they encourage that. They fully encourage.
They know
that
what
kind
they're
of
doing.
behavior.
If you're a revolutionary, you know the Saul Alinsky tactics, and you're going to use it.
I was one of those people. I was president of BYU Democrats. I got all the liberal kids on campus together in those clubs because the people who advertise BYU Dems are so poor at marketing. I was the only guy who could actually get them together. I did, and the club got big. And when I left, I saw how evil and dark Utah leftism is, and how it's full of denigrators and bullies and harassers who hate themselves. And so my plea for Black Menaces is like, remember, Understand the people right now that are hardcore supporting you, because some of these are very bad people. And if your platform is something that bullies are excited to watch because they're excited to attack someone, that means you're not on the right side.
Ooh, that's a very, very strong argument.
Yeah, because it literally, Jesus Christ tells us that his followers will be known by loving one another as he loved them. So how would it make sense that we would recognize people who are not followers of Christ when they're doing the opposite?
You know, can I just add a quote to this? I'm going to actually legitimize with a quote what you said. I'm a big Hunibli guy, which just means I really like him. I mean, I'm not a scholar or anything, but
no, you're a big Hunibli guy.
This was, yeah, exactly. This is what Hunibli said, and he was actually coming down on the Christian right. He was coming down on the Christian right in the 60s and 70s. A lot of people say that had Hunibli not been a political liberal at the time, he probably would have gone farther in church leadership because there was an ethos of conservatism during the Reagan era. But he said the following: the worst sinners, according to Jesus, are not the harlots and the publicans, but the religious leaders. And we have a secular religiosity right now. The Black Menace is repeating all of their talking points. So the worst sinners, according to Jesus, are not the harlots and publicans, but the religious leaders with their insistence on proper dress and grooming, their careful observance of all the rules, their precious concern for status symbols, their strict legality, their pious patriotism. The haircut becomes the test of virtue in a world where Satan deceives and rules by appearances. Okay? This has become the new modern haircut. The test of virtue. Okay? In a world where Satan deceives and rules by appearances. Okay? And that's my biggest problem with this whole jump on people on campus. Do a test of virtue for 500,000 subscribers and then enforce through shame.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The dogma.
And the thing that is, I think that they are trying to do a good thing, right?
Oh, no,
like,
they always feel moral bullies.
Moral
bullies always
yeah,
feel moral.
and Karl Marx thought he was doing a great thing, and then there are 100 million dead bodies. The road to hell is paved with good intentions. And when you're pushing hardcore cultural Marxism and on BYU campus, like, I'm sorry.
So my question
that's
is,
wrong.
But my question is, how do we harness the thing that they're trying to do and help them accomplish that
Zion.
better?
Zion.
Yeah.
The urge for the ideal society is the urge for Zion. The problem is that people think that the way that we get Zion is by getting the systems right. You don't get Zion by getting the systems right. You get Zion by helping people make and keep covenants with Christ, and then the systems are no longer necessary because people live in harmony with one another and
it's got to be from the people's hearts.
From the inside
because the
out.
Lord called his people Zion because they were of one heart and one mind.
Yes.
And dwelt in righteousness.
So, I wrote this down at 3 a.m. a couple weeks ago. Because I did one of those
It's
Instagram
3 a.m. I might be lonely.
What was that?
What? Come on.
Oh, yeah, that song.
Yeah, it's a song.
I have no clue what
okay.
you're talking about.
Anyway, I'm fine. I'll pull it up later.
Does Brittany not cuddle you enough?
No.
Like, I don't know.
I forgot the guy's name, but it was
probably Hootie and the Blowfish or something. You're old.
Keep going.
So
Matchbox 20. That was.
Oh, that is Yeah.
Someone asked me about do you identify as a part of the BLM movement? Like, do you identify with it? And when he asked that, it got the gears going, and I kind of realized if I have to say it for sake of an argument or a dialogue that we're engaged in or something, I will. But maybe I'm crazy. I don't self-identify with a skin color.
Oh my goodness.
Think about this. No, think about this. I don't self-identify as black, and I don't think you should self-identify as white.
Yeah.
Okay, because so
limiting labels.
Yeah.
Jacob, are you your eyebrows?
No.
Are you your nose?
Maybe no.
Cardon, are you your fingernails?
I was gonna say my bulging broad chest and killer jawline, but
oh my gosh.
Those are not who we are.
Yeah.
Those are our
They're
temporary
parts of who you are.
of the cloak of this temporary part of our eternal existence. Because what are we really? We're consciousness.
Eternal
we're
spirits.
Spirit. We're
children
mind,
of God.
Yeah, we're intelligence. We're like I'm sorry. You're not You know how many blondes are born redheads? Imagine if they made that their identity right then. Okay, you are a redhead. You are ginger. That's what you are. By the time they're in 5th grade, they're an Aryan. What's going on? We're not those things. And the more we self-identify with those physical things, the easier we can be manipulated.
Yes.
And think about how much better society would be had we never created these stupid terms.
Because I think it's a form of tribalism to
It
just
is.
cut people up against each other so that we're easier to advertise to and market and control.
Well, physical tribalism is bad if that's how we self-identify ahead of our identity as a child of God.
Yes.
Spiritual tribalism is great. I love that in the church. I love that a fully active, wanting to help, support, and provide for his family, elder in an elders quorum, literally on the opposite end of the earth. If I drilled a hole from California, I might end up in Tonga. And I love the fact that some dude that looks like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, that could probably rip my head off and is tougher than me, is just as dedicated and awesome. And I can hang with him and trust him with the keys to my freaking car in a heartbeat. You know, well, maybe I shouldn't say a heartbeat, but a lot faster than that, than the average bear, because I know the kind of dedication and self-discipline and beauty that goes into being that kind of disciple of Christ. Like the fact that I can be complete bros with this dude. I sound like a Ninja Turtle. You know what I'm saying? But like the fact you can totally be a bro with that dude is awesome. But that's spiritual tribalism.
But see, I don't know if calling it spiritual tribalism feels weird to me, because to me, what that is,
I would fight with him against the Gadianton robbers in the end days.
But see, the thing is that when if we want to be one, if we want to have unity, you have to have a unifying principle, something that actually connects you all. And the problem is, in the world, they don't have anything. We don't have anything that connects us. But
the human race, I think, is the closest you can get, which is the children of God idea.
Yes, but what I'm saying though is that when we put when Christ becomes the unifying factor, that's what Zion is built on. It is built on people who love and are committed to Christ, and it is because Cardon, that person in Tonga, loves and is committed to Christ, that you can be assured or have a greater confidence that this person is on your side, that you're on the same team. Our identity as children of God is what ultimately will unify us all and actually allow us to live in harmony, because it defines the type of relationship that we should have with one another. But what we're seeing today is that we are no longer children of God. We are all manner of ites, and people like the Black Menaces and other groups want to divide us every single which way. The woke movement is literally designed to help you constantly look for power dynamics so that you can evaluate which groups are winning and losing, and then to pit everyone against each other in a contest for power.
I just realized that's where the power dynamics is ultimately the logical end of the Tower of Babel. Mm-hmm. When you look at all relationships as power dynamics instead of relationships to a loving Father in heaven, even if you could get the ultimate power dynamic correct, even if you could get the system 100% correct, in which everybody was equal and you communized everything, which never happens because the leaders always end up being the rich guys that just rule like kings. But, even if you were able to communize everything and get all of those systems as socialist and culturally Marxist as you wanted, you would still be below God. And how do you tackle the power dynamic between humanity and God, if not through trying to defeat godliness through technology and build a tower to get to heaven?
And here's actually a thing in line with that. I can't remember who I was talking to about this, but there was a discussion about wealth when it comes to like monetary wealth versus
like Kwaku rich or like Ensign Peaks rich.
That's part of it, right? Like so
Ensign Peak, that's pocket change to me.
So wealth when it comes to like money versus status.
Okay.
Where status is a zero-sum game, because you can never have everything be, if someone else is number one, you are not number one, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Where wealth is not a zero-sum game. You can actually like accumulate wealth all across a nation and have everyone lift each other, and you can raise the standard of living among everybody, because it doesn't matter if other people have more money than you, as long as you like have a certain amount to go for your own needs and wants, right? Mm-hmm. So I think this is an interesting thing, because the power dynamic that they go after doesn't even end up being about like something that matters in your own life that affects your quality of living, it's about status. It's about this.
Yeah, it was originally
and then read the
idea
super
was,
chats. We got to get to.
No, let's go to that then. Let's go to that.
I have one more. This is an important thing. The other issue with self-identifying with anything more than, and there's a number of terms you can use. So in our church, we say child of God. If you're not maybe in our church, you might say identify as spirit. If you're more like the meditative type, you'd say consciousness, right? But the you that is responsible for your thoughts and your reactions, the you that's going to explore forever,
yeah,
that's you. Okay, that's you. This is just a temporary cloak. And the issue is, whenever you self-identify with those temporary things, you are a target of the worst kind of capitalism.
Yeah.
And so I know people who there are some big apologists out there in the church who are not heterosexual, but they don't come out and say it because they're not quite sure. They like girls, but they also kind of like guys. They're their own thing, but they don't go and say it because the second they say it, they're afraid that they have to change their entire everything. And that's not because of the hostility.
They're closeted from the LGBTQ movement, not closeted from the church.
I'm saying they're closeted from becoming a victim of the capitalistic sniper rifle. June 1st, all those profiles go rainbow. And Nike has
not all of them.
Jumps, which are $80 more.
Not in the Middle East.
Not the Saudi Arabia profiles.
Not in South America. BMW South America.
Think about though how patronizing that is, where it's like, you're LGBT. I don't see your Nike jumps with the rainbow logo. I don't want to pay $80 extra for them. So I guess you're not an ally. So what they've done is they've marketed.
They've commoditized it.
Yeah.
They've weaponized it. It's moral bullying.
And that's what happens when you start self-identifying as those other things. You better get in line, and you better. Oh, Quakey. Oh, you're black. I don't see your black square on Instagram. I don't see you wearing your BLM hoodie. I don't see you with this, and this. You better buy our products or you hate yourself. They weaponize it for capitalistic grift.
And for political power.
You become, ironically, you're not a victim. When you stop self-identifying with the terms that the world gives you, you're not a victim. When you take on those terms, you become a victim in every single way because now you're under their scope.
Yeah.
Okay, we got to catch up on these super
We
chats.
do. Okay, so you guys are seriously the best, and I can't wait to come on the show. From Bryce Spauer. Much love. Thanks,
Much love
Bryce.
back, bro. Reach out, man. Reach out, baby.
Yeah.
He's like, you got to become a lobbyist, Bryce, because he's like definitely wanted to reach out to us a couple of times, and persistence alone is omnipotent, said Calvin Coolidge. And it looks like, I can't see very well because it's a very small thumbnail. The thumbnails on YouTube, they don't have big profile pictures like Facebook does and so on and so forth. But I think that's a marathon, a triathlon, or an Ironman outfit that he's got on with his wife or a girlfriend there. And let me tell you, man, he's working it. He's working it. Bridger Coburn, thank you for the super chat. It just says message retracted. So he either really hates us and said something horrible.
No, he said it again, just down below. And this one's for Jacob, actually.
Oh, Jacob, hit it. Oh, I got a response to that one as well. Hit it, Jacob.
Oh, he just said, Jacob, when we talking Julie Hanks on your podcast, Bridge thoughts on TikTok. Yeah, I think I'd seen a video that you did responding to the Julie Hanks video. And yes, I'd love to have you on the show. So go to thoughtful-faith.com. I have a contact thing on there. Shoot it. It comes to my email, and we'll make it happen.
Thoughtful, THOTFULL.
Yeah, and a thoughtful THOT. You didn't get that joke, did you, Boomer Jacob?
No.
I
got it. I know what a thought is.
Then what is it? Explain.
It's a slut.
Oh my god. Yeah, can you imagine just go up to people? What is the thought?
I never. The way you said it had so much bite. It's a slut.
Oh my god.
Who hurt you?
A slut.
My gosh.
To be fair,
No.
I think we flagged all the algorithms.
As the guy a part of that generation that created the word thought, do you know what it actually stands for?
Yeah, it stands for that hoe over there.
Yeah, that hoe over there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's an acronym.
It's
and I said it that way so the algorithm doesn't hear me saying
It's so stupid because, to be fair, also if you're a dude who takes care of yourself and you go to the gym and you have confidence, you're labeled a douchebag. And if you're a girl who's attractive and confident and you're not afraid to wear a crop top, you're called a thought. Like, you can't really win.
No,
but at least you're still winning.
Yeah, there you go.
So
next one down.
Well, in regards to Julie Hanks thing, she's actually from Studio City, which is probably only another 20 minutes in a different direction from our studio, right? And what's funny is the first time that I had Jacob on the program, I got a bunch of calls from, not a bunch, but a couple of calls from people in Studio City that were concerned that their beloved friend was somehow being impugned and wanted to know what I could do. And so I said, hey, bring her on the show. I'd love to talk to her. I can see where a lot of these people are coming from. I can see how somebody with good intentions could either accidentally not take some of their posts or their commentary to their logical conclusion and accidentally endorse through the weaponization of empathy, righteous empathy, their ideas by people that hate the church and hate the doctrine and the existence of the church. Or they might just be wolves in sheep's clothing or whatever, and I would never want to accuse somebody of that because I do not know their heart. Only the Lord knows their heart. But oftentimes through conversation, you can see where they're coming from. You can tell pretty quickly. So I offered to have him come on the show. Apparently, she said she's willing to talk to me privately and then see if she doesn't come on later. I haven't heard from her yet, but apparently she also said that in a comment before once when we first stumbled across her, Brad.
Yeah, when we were talking about
in a live stream.
Yeah, we were talking about something.
So yeah, let's see if she. I don't want to say has the guts to. I'd say it if that were one of the other ones. But yeah, let's see if she reaches out. I mean, she's obviously an intelligent woman, an articulate person, a charismatic person. So she probably
want to hear what she has to say.
And I want to put out there too, just so anyone knows with that video. And I don't know Julie personally. I'm not judging her in any way personally. There are ideas that she put out that I think contradict things that the brethren have said.
You just want her to be excommunicated.
No, I don't. And what I
you
want,
just hate women.
No,
there it is.
So what
you're just a
I am putting out what I thought were some problematic content that was out there. I wanted to contrast it with what the brethren had to say, and then I invited her to come on if anything was misrepresented.
That's fair.
And come and talk to me. Mm-hmm. Like I have nothing against her, and I hope Brad Cardon, I hope she takes you up on it so that you can talk with her, and then maybe you can convince her that I'm worth talking to as well.
You know what? I'll say it. I guess I like moms.
Oh my
Kate Kelly's hot. Julie Hanks is hot too. Like, I'm sorry. Every time they're like, go to her profile and see how progma. I'm like, she's kind of bad though. Like, that's all. I don't know, man. She is.
That's
okay.
funny.
Before Kwaku says anything even more, why do you think Elder Uchtdorf is the fallen one from Noisy
Brad,
Boy?
why do you think Elder Uchtdorf is the fallen one?
I
dog?
think
What's
we
up?
all know who that was directed to, Cardon.
When did I say that on January 17th? What? No. Okay. Well, that's funny. You remember that. Okay. That was a joke said in passing, referencing the fact that I do not like that Elder Uchtdorf was busted for what I saw as a pretty obvious violation of the rules of political donations, okay, that somehow was brushed under the rug by both the church office building and the PR department and some of the fellow apostles. He claimed it was an oversight, and then when there was supposed to be an awesome stirring oration on what I thought was going to be religious freedom in the next conference, Dallin H. Oaks saw fit to defend his buddy for doing something that I've seen lesser leaders get more heavily chastised for. Now, it was a joke, so chill out, okay? Like, hyperbole is part of humor.
No, this guy was asking because he agrees with you.
No, I get that, but I also worry because these people are like I am a member of the church first, and then a political thought person second, okay? Mm-hmm. That's a problem I have with progmos, is that progressive is before the mo. And that's the problem with the movement, is they want to make you a progressive first and have you be a missionary for progressivism into Mormonism.
It's literally the doctrines of men mingled with Scripture.
It's literally the doctrines of men.
They're leading with their political ideology and interpreting their Scripture through that lens.
And they're trying to convert the politics into the religion instead of augment the morality and the religion into the politics. Okay. So this was a joke spoken hyperbolically about somebody. And I have to tell you right now, though, okay, I love the fact that our church is set up in a way that when I'm ticked at a leader, it's for something as small as this. And I think the proof that our leadership structure is watertight and good is that no matter how I disagree with Russell M. Nelson and the Fauci ouchie, okay, and no matter how much I disagree with Uchtdorf and I don't know how he morally justifies donating to Raphael baby not help liver Warnock, okay? Like, I know for a fact that these guys are all but volunteering for a stipend that only covers living expenses and that there is no financial motivation behind them. And when they give their opinions or their inspired thoughts on how we can better live our lives, I know that none of those thoughts are corrupted by an incentive for money. And it's the only organization that I think participates in moral discussion where there is no corruption of intent due to money. Because we have a lay clergy and we only pay them once we actually give them a load so large that they are prohibited from working. And even then they only receive the pay equivalent of a small junior college or large high school administrators. You know what I'm saying? Yet they run a worldwide religion, right? Yeah. So to me, the joke about Uchtdorf being the fallen one, come on, please, really? You know, let's keep going.
Okay.
So
next one, we have a Canadian donation from Oliver Parker. Ooh. This is actually a guy I think who was saying he has some info on Scientologists that he would like to talk to us.
Sure,
about.
we'll talk to anybody.
But
we're chill. We're comfortable in our own skin.
What he's saying is the irony of antis calling us a cult, yet they don't fact check their claims and spoon feed emotional manipulation. The irony here. Love you guys.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, no.
Well, we got so many to catch up on. Keep hammering
I know.
these out.
We've got some ones to follow up with. So
thank you, Oliver Parker.
Yeah, Bryce Spower. Why is mental illness and addiction so normalized and noticeable in our society today?
Because we've secularized it, and the priests of a secular society are the therapists, and they exert their power through chemical dependency, and big pharma exerts its power politically through chemical dependency.
I don't know that it's that purposeful though, Cardon. I think that there's
it's incompetent. It's driven by incompetence in addition to greed, and the secularization of everything just augments the ability of incompetence.
And that's what's normalizing it, I guess.
Yes.
I disagree with the last half of that. I think know exactly what they're doing.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry when you start putting kids on Ritalin and SSRIs and saying, oh, he's got anxiety and he's got depression and he's got this, and this. The solution is not ever diet, meditation,
exercise,
prayer, or exercise. It's always whatever new pills.
If your therapist is good, it will be.
Pocketed.
If your doctor is good, it will be.
But
yeah.
I
think psychiatrists are like literally
religious.
Psychiatrists are these very dangerous people. Can I just say they've done a lot of damage, and we have been poisoning the youth all over, poisoning them on social media, or poisoning them with pornography, or poisoning them with alcohol. You look at how much pushback you get when you say, I don't think alcohol is a good thing. People lose their minds, including other Christians.
And it's the biggest rite of passage when people leave the church. Like, that's what Leo Winiger brought up, how, like, Sam Young is, like, really he apparently posting a lot about not being too sober in certain situations. And it's like, it's rough.
Well, how sad
I
is
see it all over my feed when people go, and it's like, how was being preserved in the first 25 years of your life from alcoholism? Like, how do you feel? Like, how are you just not grateful for that and now moving on and living a life?
It's so sad, especially when you see, like, when people turn 21 and their parents are like, I'm so excited to give you your first beer. That should not be a rite of passage to drink poison with your kid at a date rape center. I'm sorry, it's not good.
But mental illness itself is on the rise basically everywhere. And I think that there's an even deeper thing going on here.
5G towers? Oh, yeah, sorry. What was it?
well, with the breakdown of families, with the breakdown, I mean, what are the mental health outcomes of not having a father around for young men? What is the so that's one driving factor. Yeah. What happens is we lose faith in religion. Does religion have an effect on mental health? Yes, it has an incredibly protective health. When people no longer feel that they have purpose in their life because they've lost all the religious narratives and they're in this secular nihilism, and they try and put a happy face on it and be like, oh, I just, live for humanity for 80 years and then die and everything will not exist anymore. Nothing I did actually matters in the end. And the thing is somewhere deep down in their hearts, I think that is just a cancer on people's souls, and that manifests in mental illness.
Interesting. Now, we have some more to cover, so y'all are great. Keep it up. What are your favorite church/Christian books, thinkers, and apologists?
That's from Snagrit.
Snagrit, yeah. P.S. Right. Brad should have auctioned off his beard hair. You're totally right. That would have been awesome. Yeah. I've actually done that before.
Look at Kwaku.
I auctioned off my mustache at BYU.
What? You?
Yeah, I know. Weird, right?
Beard hair.
I know.
Beard
it was for, was it Promethean Spark International? It was some like, it was like some.
I just found out that Brad has an OnlyFans.
some charity when back at BYU when I was doing Divine Comedy and I had a mustache.
Wait, it was a charity?
Yeah, for like some charity thing. They had me like be an MC for it, and I like had a mustache but didn't really want it, and they were like, "Can we auction it off?" I was like, absolutely.
Dude, my buddy in New York, when he came back from the military, he was approached in the locker room of the gym he was at by a dude who wanted to buy his socks, who ran a service for selling socks for people that have a fetish for socks and like smelling socks.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, so he would always buy new socks and sell them to this dude for like $8. Who would turn around and like resell them to $20 for people like fresh nasty socks. It's kind of crazy.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, there's some dude with your beard hair out there, who's like built a little shrine. There's some actor that's wearing an authentic beard hair, like mustache in some independent film.
It's just locks of love, right? Kind of.
Stashes of hand-me-down stashes. That's so gross.
But yeah, so back to his actual question.
Yeah.
Favorite church and Christian books, thinkers, and apologists.
Oh, come on. Terrell and Fiona Givens, Hugh Nibley.
Hugh Nibley by far for me.
Boom, yeah.
Hugh Nibley is my favorite. I love
Lewis.
his commentary on the Book of Mormon, and I love all of his stuff.
G.K. Chesterton, George MacDonald.
I like Norm MacDonald more, but that's
those are the guys. By the way,
very well known.
G.K. Chesterton and George MacDonald were hugely influential on C.S. Lewis. C.S. Lewis was reading those guys, just so you guys know. So those two are really great. Obviously, I'm going to plug Jordan Peterson because I always plug Jordan Peterson.
He has some really incredible debates with Sam Harris.
Yes,
he mopped the floor with poor old Sam. And I like Sam Harris, but man, it's like dog. The arrogance of man just got dunked on.
Yeah, I have a lot of people are going to get mad at me for this one probably, but I even though I have some serious theological differences with him, I think William Lane Craig is worth listening to and understanding. I think he at least he'll get you thinking deeper, even if I disagree with him theologically.
All right, keep going. Hammer out these super chats. We got like 10 to
apologists. Final word on apologists that you like. I think Brian Stubbs has some really interesting things on Uto Aztecan. And morphology of Hebrew into it as an evidence of the Book of Mormon in the Americas, which is really interesting.
You got any, Kwaku?
Like Osler.
Yeah, so, first, I think...
Dan Peterson's a boss.
I would literally say the probably the best LDS apologist that out there right now is Robert Boylan.
Yeah, I was going to say Robert. That was what I was going to say.
Robert Boylan's a genius.
Yeah, what does he do?
He knows the scriptures better than anyone you will ever
of any religion.
I've never met a human being that has that many books.
Who is he?
His house is made of books.
He's just some Irish guy.
He's
who
Irish and
everything.
awesome. And I have an interview with him on my channel.
His stuff. It's scriptural Mormonism.
Will he come on?
He helped me and Hayden.
I'm sure we could get
debate.
him on the show. We could absolutely.
He's like our debate
Robert
coach.
Boylan's amazing,
and he's got an awesome Irish accent.
Yeah, so scriptural Mormonism is his is it channel
It's
or he's starting one.
scripturalmormonism.blogspot.com.
Yeah, he's got a blog that's incredible.
Worst website. I've seen it. It looks like a Boy Scout project for the computer marathon.
And it is not incredibly well made, but the information on it is incredible.
Okay, Boylan, we gotta talk, dog. We're gonna get you a studio with some cool lighting.
Dude, I gave him. I helped donate. He was raising some money. I got him a microphone. We should get him a good camera though.
Okay,
and we should
need to
auction
support
off
this
his
guy.
beard.
And he will debate anyone. He will debate anyone,
And
he will win.
And he regularly trolls the people who run from him in debates on like Facebook and
It's
Twitter and
hilarious.
stuff. He's just like, this person's supposed to be debating me on this. Oh, looks like they chickened out. Like, he's really fun.
Yeah, no, he's great. Authors I really like David Icke.
Good Christian author right there.
Oh, is he? Oh, I'd be a Christian author.
No, go for it. Give him all your.
Just authors I think are greght. Yeah, I think David Icke's really good. When he get past his anti-Christian stuff, he's really really good. The rest of it, I just like all the weird guys. I like the weird people that we're not supposed to like read or listen to.
Rock on.
So-
I guess
It's great.
like Gnostic.
Hey, I mean,
knowledge.
search out of the best books, words of wisdom, whether they're crazy or
What
not.
does
Graham
wisdom
Hancock.
mean?
I know
Yeah,
you're
Graham
into him.
Hancock's a really really.
Oh, we
really
gotta
good
get him
one.
on the show.
He has some interesting stuff to say.
Talking
Yeah.
that Austro-Melanesian DNA. He's the crazy kooky guy that never gets called into church leadership, but shows up to church on every Sunday and makes awesome comments in elders quorum.
But also drinks too much ayahuasca to ever be like.
But you go over to his house and it's like kind of like lightly smells like something you haven't smelled in a while. You're like, hey, what's up, brother Hancock? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like that
Next
guy.
super chat up, Jonah Barnes bids $2 for my beard hair, so
Oh.
we've already got a bidder.
Yeah.
Weird.
Okay, Zachary Thornton. Thanks for all your work making things interesting. Oh, man. I
Dude.
dig you, Zach.
Thank you, Zach.
We got Hank. Thank you, my man. And then the next one says, seriously, thanks. Awesome, Zach. When we are decided in the resurrection, says a Latter-day Saint on fire, it is based on the laws that we are willing to obey, not the color or size of nose, etc. Yes, you were making the analogy, are you your eyebrows? Are you your nose? Are you your fingernails? Earlier in the chat, Kwaku, yes, exactly. And Figure of Thoughts, oh, Jonathan Streeter's up in here.
Uh-huh.
Says, sorry our Scientology chat went so poorly. That's one way of describing it. You'll all have gotten along well with Chris if I had done a better job as host. It's all right, man. Look, we all cruise through life, and sometimes the discussion doesn't go as we planned. It was fine. Also, I'm a member of the No Hang Up Club. Maybe it's just because I'm in radio, but if you hang up and you leave an interview, it's like the ultimate, like you tipped over your king on a chessboard and you just left. In the world of radio, which is probably largely forgotten now, except for amongst boomers, it's called the No Hang Up Club. It means like you literally don't stop arguing until the break. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Until the FCC hard out. I like Jonathan, and I like a lot of what he does because I think he's very committed to good principles of intellectual honesty, and he has a code of ethics that he sticks to, which I very much appreciate. And he's very committed to the concept of social fabric.
I
I
banter with him on Twitter sometimes.
Ooh, banter, like playful banter.
A little bit, but and I have found that Jonathan is I really enjoy finding people who I disagree with, but that play the game of disagreement well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
he
does that.
Flirtatious banter.
I have watched Jonathan Streeter
You're gonna
have
dance like two peacocks around.
I have seen Jonathan Streeter have the opportunity to entrap me in something that I've said that I've misspoken in something that I've said with my own argument, but he does not jump on those because he knows what I was intending to say.
Oh, I never would be that.
And I know he's very, very kind in the way he approaches things. Like he'll point out the inaccuracy of what I've said, right? But help me understand it and help me and be like, is this what you were trying to say? And be like, no, that's not what I want. But
so anyway,
he's very good about it.
He's an honest actor.
Yeah, we'll move on. So he says, sorry the chat went so poorly. Thinks we'd like Chris. I guess we'll see if we do later in a different time. He is anti-woke as well. Then why is he behaving like one? Why is he shaming people? You know what I said? Like, what?
I legitimately think
We'll
I
see.
legitimately think it has to do with difficult things he's experienced that we're not aware of, right? Coming into talking about something that is a hot button issue for him, and then he sees us being like saying nice things about people who are very hard on him, right?
No,
and so it's like it's an emotional response thing more than anything.
I hear you. So Daniel Lewis, what are the different roles of the 12 tribes of Israel? Ooh.
Wait, I got this. Judah, Zebulon, Dancer, Prancer, Rudolph.
Blasphemy!
Yeah, they're not really spelled out that much in scripture.
Well, we know
They kinda
Levi
are.
was the...
It's in Genesis.
That one.
Yeah, it's in
But
Genesis
I looked it up.
chapter.
Deer in the headlights
It's not
on this
really-
one.
It is very symbolic in all of the stuff that they're being blessed with, right? So in the very end of Genesis, you get Jacob blessing his posterity, right? Israel blesses all of the tribes with kind of their different gifts, but it's kind of symbolic language in a way that is difficult for us to know
But he does. I don't
precisely
think they
what it
recorded
means.
all of it.
I don't think they did either. I think they recorded parts of it, so we know.
We barely know anything about the original 12 apostles. Some of them we only have their names mentioned a couple times.
Yeah.
We know one was a zealot, whatever that means.
But for the 12 tribes of Israel, some of them that we do know, or at least the ones that I know off the top of my head, Ephraim is to gather.
Okay.
Right? Benjamin has something to do with temple work.
Okay. Cool.
And then
Every time I've looked it up, I cannot find, like, the Bible barely, like, it doesn't even cover all of them. It covers a couple, and that's it. It doesn't. The rest is.
Why
I
we
feel like
need
this
the
is one
Apocrypha.
this is one that Robert Boylan would be able to like school us.
Oh,
up
he
on.
would absolutely know. He'd like right off the top of his head be like,
if you read it upside
Genesis
down,
47.
translated to
Hebrew.
French, it shows the what? Yeah.
Yeah, especially in the original Hebrew.
It's the
I'm sure it has
National
more.
Treasure map version of the Dead Sea Scrolls where he puts on the sunglasses and he can read the hidden Gnostic text below.
Yeah, so
Ooh, this is a next one. This is a tough one.
okay, moving forward.
Ooh, coffee drinking is not a sin. I wonder where this guy's coming from.
He's right.
Says
They won't take away your temple micron if you drink coffee.
I love it how it's just now this proverbial they. You know what I'm saying?
The
But
church
okay.
will not. They will not take away your temple recommend for drinking coffee.
Are you endorsing it?
No, I'm just saying it's basically been decriminalized, not legalized in the church.
Decriminalized coffee.
I love how medical marijuana is now a type and shadow of coffee.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Okay. So, coffee drinking is not a sin. Says, why could women give priesthood blessings under Joseph Smith Jr., but not now?
Because thoughts. No, that's
Well,
they were more modest and covered their ankles.
no one's shapely knees were being seen at the blessings.
Yeah.
Well, if you want to go back to olden days, things might get a little wild.
Yeah.
There's a couple other things that were happening in Joseph Smith's time, but I think we have some other things going on with women in the priesthood, particularly in the temple, where there is more going on.
Yeah, I think
than
there's
we
going to be an
typically talk about.
amplification, but it won't be a woke amplification. I've had people I trust ecclesiastically say, I don't see how in the last days the millennium is performed without an amplification of those duties, but we will be, as Zion is emergent, says Jacob Hansen, we will be a more perfected people. Therefore, we could almost expect some amplification in how some of these things happen and how some of these behaviors are accomplished, right? So, yeah, it's really good questions. Keep going. The next one. We're burning through these.
Next one down. Good stuff, y'all.
Says Mr. Joshua.
Thank you, Mr. Joshua. I appreciate
Rock
it.
on. Hit it.
Okay, and then next up
Is Bryce Spowers back? Says YR.S.
Years.
See, he had he was getting his number of ciphers in. YouTube wouldn't let him write the full years. So years ago, I was given a box of book from an Exmo boss of mine. Oh, that could be really bad.
What?
Oh man, dude, motivate. I worked for an evangelical that hated the church. And it's like really weird. It's the only time where I think some of the not socialist, but progressive arguments about power dynamics, there's a little bit of truth to it. Like, you kind of feel like after work, like, how long do I have to listen to this cat? You know what I'm saying? Before it's considered just like socially okay to leave, but not insubordination to say like, shut up, I have something to do. You know what I'm saying? And if they want to like holler politics or religion at you and you're like an underling, it's kind of like, how do I get out of here? You know what I'm saying? It's just like Kwaku was saying, like, I got to make it to the cafeteria before the freshmen. And the Black Menaces shove this thing in my face. Say, what do you think about BLM? And you're like, yeah. You know? So, I get that. It's pretty, I could see, I'm just saying that, like, you know, receiving a box of anti-religious material when you affiliate with that religion from a boss of yours could be a really tough situation. But anyway, which turned out to be mint conditioned Journal of Discourses, 5th edition. Have you read them? Oh, I've read parts of the Journal of Discourses and stumbled upon all kinds of things in my personal studies of many different subjects, but I've never done like a cover to cover read like I have the scriptures, the New Testament, the Old Testament, the Chronicles of Narnia, Anarchist Cookbook. No, I'm just kidding. You know, like, yeah, I've never done a cover to cover read, but anyway, and Will Larkins. Oh, Will the Thrill. That's my cousin. He said, how should I deal with kids? I think it is, at least. If not, there's some other kid with a very traditional name elsewhere. It says, how should I deal with kids at school who are woke? It depends on how they're treating you and what their behaviors are. If it's a legitimate conversation because they have concerns and they perceive you as having a different opinion in life, oftentimes young people don't know how to ask questions, if not through argument. So stand your ground on positions you believe in, hone your positions, listen to learn from them so you're not lampooning them. Remember their status as a child of God first, but don't cede ground that is not necessary. And you might have years later some of these people coming up and saying, you know, I really appreciate the pushback, or you know, just be cool. Now, I'm a little bit biased. I know this cat. He's the coolest cat in the planet. You know, hippest 11 or 12-year-old in the planet. So makes friends with everybody ain't going to be an issue for this kid. But for others who may not be blessed with that charisma, shall we say, which the Greek word for charisma actually meant gift from the gods. I really believe charisma is a gift. That's why Kwaku is such
a gift,
a blessing. You know what I'm saying?
Mine came from Hades. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
That explains a lot.
You know, I would want to know what the specific situation is, and the contingency model of leadership dictates that, you know, you adapt to that situation. But I trust you, bro, and I trust most people that are pure in heart and well-intentioned to actually do the right thing most of the time. So good luck. Go with God. Freaking crush it. And Bryce Bauer's back. Oh, wait, no. I already read that one.
Yeah,
I did them
came
out of
up
order.
out of order. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No. But I
hit
think
the next one. You hit the next one.
Dealing with woke kids at your school, I think the best thing you can do is be a good example of your religion. If you are doing what you can to love your neighbor, and when I say that, I don't mean be nice to them. I don't mean let them, as Cardon would say, weaponize your empathy into manipulating you into saying like, oh, you don't really love your neighbor unless you do everything I say, right? Actually love your neighbor, be kind to them, stand up for what you believe without being combative with them, and that's going to be your best bet.
Also, hit up Brandon Cole's comment. He didn't super chat, but he's a member. And I always notice it's kind of cool. Members, like, their things are highlighted and they got these little icons so I can always see what they're saying. He's got a really interesting comment here that I think you should address because you've wanted to do this as a video topic. Just so you guys know, we got like another 10 minutes. If you got any super chats in your system or any burning questions that you want to get out, throw them up now. You know, put them up in the queue so we can get to them because we're going to be out of here in probably about 10. But hit Brandon Cole's comment. He said, Freemasonry merely, quote, contributed to how, end quote, things were taught in the temple. Nothing to do with what is taught, why things are taught, or in what light things are taught. So what's really interesting is you were suggesting we do a video that, what was the thumbnail we said? Mormons are Freemasons, but just cooler, or what was that?
Yeah, something inflammatory like that,
Yeah,
you know? Because here's the thing, Brandon Cole is a Mason. He's a member of the church, and he's also a Mason, right?
Is he the kid, the kid that showed up in a masonry outfit on Saints Inscripted's thumbnail in my feed a couple of weeks ago?
Oh, I'm not sure. Maybe,
okay,
yeah.
Keep going.
But yeah, he is also a Mason, and here's the deal. I think people get caught up about the connection between the church and Freemasonry in ways that really don't matter. Because, like, so many of the early members of the church were Freemasons. Don't you think they would have been bothered if there was anything to be bothered by? You know?
Okay, good.
They're like,
Very good
you
point,
have Joseph Smith like putting these ceremonies in, but he was doing this in a restorative way, the exact same way he's restoring the rest of the gospel. And we definitely should do an episode on this, but I think there's one of the concerns that you have that people bring up is that Masonry doesn't tie back directly to the Temple of Solomon like it purports to. So therefore, Joseph Smith is a fraud because he's using these Freemasonic sort of symbols and rituals. But
I think it does.
Yeah,
I think it goes straight back to the Temple of Solomon. I don't care what I've done it. Yeah, it absolutely does.
Dude, we should do a video on that.
We absolutely need to because the thing is, you look back and they always say stuff like, oh well, the Masons weren't even formed until like around the 17th century, but like yeah, that's when they did their paperwork, but they've been around for longer. And
we know that they escaped and made it pre-Columbian to North America, and the truth was hidden because I saw the History Channel.
Brandon says it was him on Saints Unscripted. But here's the deal. You see so much evidence of rituals just like what Joseph Smith restored completely in things like the Pistis Sophia found in the Nag Hammadi library much later.
Oh,
right?
we got to read that. I
Yeah.
haven't heard of Pistis. I'm pretty familiar with the Nag Hammadi library.
There's a ton of Gnostic texts that are like, yo, Jesus took his disciples and he gave them a new name and he put them in these new robes. And he
have seen some of that. I saw some of that there's a YouTube channel called LDS Truth Claims, I think it's called. And he goes into some of those things in detail. And his video on the temple rituals
is insane.
Was like,
so
I was like,
good.
oh my gosh. And he has all the sources.
Really?
Yeah. In fact,
that's another one. LDS
we should
Truth
link
Claims,
through to him.
LDS Truth Claims, your channel is horrible. Like, no, it's,
no.
The info is great.
The info is amazing.
It is literally the greatest positive case for the church I've ever heard.
It's worse than
You're talking about production value.
Yeah, production value. It is. We need to get that brother. We need to get that brother. First off, like either a tie and a suit coat if you're going to wear a collared shirt. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you're going to do the whole PowerPoint thing. You know, but like he's got a webcam in the back of like. It looks like, I'm not kidding you, it looks like a webcam.
But the content was so good.
It's
it
a
was
webcam
so,
in the back of a laundromat.
I know, but the content,
No, it's great if you can look past it. And I love it. I've watched a couple of those videos where I'm like, hot dang! Like, holy smoke!
It is jam-packed with sourced information.
I recommend it to everyone who struggles with their faith in the church. I recommend go listen. I listened to the 30 lectures that were like an hour long as I did the dishes over a course of about 6 months.
How many dishes did you have?
Every night, my wife cooks, I do the dishes, and I put in my earphones and I listen to it. And so that's what I did. Yeah, a little bit.
Why not? It's the best way to be. No, but yeah, so we should definitely do an episode more in depth on that.
Okay.
But there is, I think there's just so much blown out of proportion with Mormonism and Masonry that it's really not that big of a problem.
Yeah,
Jonathan
Brett nails
says,
that
I
too.
can never
He's
tell
the guy-
when
his
y'all are
name's Brett.
speaking your actual mind or just trolling. It's meta irony all the way down. We kind of like that. Like, I'll be honest, we kind of like that people don't know exactly when it's real or it's not.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the sweet spot, Jonathan. That's the sweet spot. Okay, we got a couple of people here that joined.
I work
Chris
for an
Murphy.
LDS book publisher from Draw and Talk. This one's up higher.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Would any of you guys be interested in writing an LDS nonfiction book possibly about LDS culture and stuff?
Absolutely. In fact,
we should probably reach out to that guy.
Yes, reach out to us. Just hit me
Write
up on
our
the
own
website.
CES letter.
No,
Right.
no, I wouldn't. Someone tried to get me to wite a book.
Yeah. No
Like-
man.
Well, I've already started, to be
No
honest.
man
Cardon,
knows
you're
my
good.
search
Yeah.
history.
No,
By Kwaku L.
no.
I've been to the end of the internet, says Kwaku, and this
All
is
about
what I came
conspiracy
back with.
theories.
No, again, it's that fear.
There are
It's
things
that
on the internet
that
worse than
that
porn.
that I don't want. I just you know, there you got the John by the ways, you got the Al Foxes, you got a lot of wonderful LDS influencer types. That's just not me.
I've wanted to write one in defense of chastity, which is kind of weird and sounds like it would be like super boring.
No,
like
that sounds awesome.
1980s Christian stuff. But I think one of the biggest things lacking right now is an intense dedication to the law of chastity. because it is the crack in the foundation of society through which everything is crumbling. And so I really think that's actually something that needs to get written. So yeah, Draw and Talk, hit us up. We'll gladly do it. Chris Murphy, welcome to the Telestial Kingdom. There's only one membership level because we haven't started releasing movies yet. We're actually going to start producing movies. Actually, here's a little bit of an announcement. There's a movie that all of you guys recognize, not a Mormon flick. We're talking probably top 25 Hollywood comedy written by a member of the church that's a friend of mine. And we've written some LDS movies, but we don't want them ruined by unmotivated distributors or boomer pipelines that don't know how to get things to a younger audience. We actually think we might just make it completely self-funded and released on Midnight Mormons channel, where for the first 6 to 8 weeks you can see it if you're a member of the channel. And we thought that that might be a cool way of privately funding it and also rewarding the members of our channel by actually making a cultural patch in the social fabric by producing original comedies. And these are feature films actually made by Hollywood scriptwriters that are extremely talented guys. And we're doing some of the market research for that right now. So if you start seeing it in our polls, for example, interest surveys on movies, oftentimes it will most likely go to the people that are YouTube members first, is probably the biggest funding and distribution mechanism that we see right now. So yeah, and Bryce Bauer says, last super chat before my wife kills me. Hey, happy wife, happy life, dog. I feel you. Is it necessary? Oh, this one I think is Jacob. And then maybe I'll opine. Actually, all of us will.
Okay, the question is it necessary to lose your faith once, then pick it up again to have a true conversion? So it kind of depends on what a person means by that question, but I'm gonna assume like a full-on, like, lost your faith 100%, kind of like gone down the hole to atheism or something like that to have a true conversion. I do not think that that's necessary, but I do think that it is necessary as you grow in the gospel, that there are going to be things that you have to scrape away and you have to renovate your faith. Because as you go about building your testimony and your structures of belief in God and Jesus Christ and the restoration, as you go about building that and constructing it, not everything is going to be constructed properly. You're gonna have some things that weren't correct that you thought were correct, and then you're later going to have to make some adjustments on that. So there will be some clearing away of maybe poorly constructed ideas as you go about building your faith. So I wouldn't call it, I don't think everyone has to have a faith crisis, but I think we do need to fairly regularly be going through and remodeling our faith to make sure that our testimony, the temple of our testimony, is well built and strong.
Yeah. And that said, I think that you don't have to know the truth only by contrast, right? There are some people who might benefit from that, right? Having the experience of feeling nothing from the Spirit for a while and feeling lost, and then feeling the Spirit back in their lives again. And I think people can make that into a good thing, but it is not necessary at all for you to lose your faith first and then pick it up again to have true conversion. I think true conversion comes from true repentance, which I think is what Jacob's describing here. When you are changing your heart and putting it in line with what the scriptures truly teach, which can be hard to decipher sometimes because every single day you get a new test on how you are going to live the principles of the gospel in your daily life, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, before we read this super chat here, we're gonna be out of here pretty soon. So any of you guys that got any last burning questions, just throw them up there right now because we're really winding down. But I do want to say, if you can, please don't forget to like the live stream. It really helps us out, and it actually improves the algorithm for recommending this to people, and also showing our videos in videos you might have missed in your feeds and so on and so forth. The YouTube algorithm really rewards live streams, we found. So if you can, please just drop a comment or a like in there. The engagement helps us. Also, a little bit of an announcement for what's coming up. There's been a big demand for a kind of episode by episode what Under the Banner of Heaven got right or got wrong, a rebuttal, which is usually a term reserved for anti-Mormons. But at this point, I think Dustin Lance Black has proven himself to be, you know what I'm saying? Definitely not.
You mean he's not a staunch defender of our faith?
You know,
was that what Lindsay Henson Park said?
He's not the writer of Ender's Game. He's not Orson Scott Card. You know, he's no Orson Scott Card. So anyway, yeah, we're probably going to do pretty cool, just episode by episode. Hey, what's right? And they got right. Andrew Garfield's performance was amazing. Just in a cursory way. The cinematography I loved. For television, it was very cinematic. And whoever was operating that camera and storyboarding the action was very talented. It's hilarious. I just got offered on my Google feed an Exmo Lex video in which her and her husband were trying to say, yeah, no, like Mormons, like we totally talk like how, I know a lot of people like say it was like a really boring video and like it wasn't very fun, but it's on Hulu. And I know a lot of people said like, we don't really talk like that, but we did. But like we do, like no, I know people that did. And no, I did. I used to use Heavenly Father every 2 seconds.
I did, brother.
You know?
I did.
Yeah,
I spoke of our Heavenly Father every second of the day,
it's like
brother.
You knew it was going to go this
brother,
way.
brother.
Yes.
Wait, brother.
I'm sorry. Yes. Blessed child of God. I'm sorry to interrupt you. But yeah, it's like, it was really funny because when Under the Banner of Heaven came out, all of these people who would be relegated to the dustbin of irrelevance, all right, all of a sudden somehow got invited to a Hollywood premiere. You know what I'm saying? In Salt Lake City. So these people who've probably never seen, I don't know. I don't want to dog on them too much, but all of a sudden they're all excited to be part of the action, right? And you see them tripping over themselves to say how amazing this thing's going to be because somebody once asked them a question about Mormonism and all of a sudden they became relevant, right? And then it comes out being just like an epic, not so fun to watch, not super successful thing. And you find them tripping over themselves to make up for the self and show promotion where it's just bad. It's like if you're caught saying The Phantom Menace was a good movie, you know, like I just you know.
I mean, nostalgia's strong enough to make me think so.
It's got some good songs. Music of the night.
Exactly. Hey, by the way, just side note, on eBay right now, I'm following to see how much it goes for. But for about 15 or 20 grand, an original 35 millimeter trailer print for Revenge of the Sith is for sale. Because The Phantom Menace, when it was first released, was actually titled Revenge of the Sith by George Lucas. And there was a small amount of 35 millimeter, I think, 90-second trailers that were printed where Revenge of the Sith in the Star Wars logo was on there. And they're going for like 15 or 20K to people that
are weirdos.
Oh, come on.
With too much money.
Yeah,
Rich geeks.
Yeah, I've never even really seen Star Wars.
Dude, I would
great.
dump that much money on an original King Kong poster.
I like the
Really?
Jack Black King Kong
nerd.
movie's kind of cool.
Yep.
Yeah,
nerd.
the Jack Black King Kong movie was cool. You mean the Peter Jackson one, but that's fine.
No, it was Jack.
Uncle
Jack
Drew,
Black.
just paying my tithing, fellas. Good work, guys.
Yeah, so
that's
don't
an awesome
endorse
super
that,
chat.
please pay your tithing to
That's
the
hilarious.
yeah, I was about to say that's pretty awesome. Like that's borderline priestcraft, but like, you know, if you consider this tithing and we can emotionally manipulate you into paying us money through your religiosity, I fully endorse. No, I'm get it. No,
Full disclaimer: we are not having people pay their tithing to us.
No.
It
is not a valid form of tithing.
Yes, what I said
Seer
was,
Bishop.
But it is hilarious to say that.
that was obviously humor, okay? And yes, this show is entertainment. We have an anti-priestcraft disclaimer on the show. And just to clarify for anybody that might want to take this out of context or clip us and use it against us later on, we provide commentary on religious topics, ideas, philosophy, and doctrine. We are not representatives of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints or any of its auxiliary organizations, and nor do we completely endorse our way of life, our opinions as a gateway to heaven. Yeah, anti-priestcraft clause here. Unlike the secular priests of anti-Mormonism, we actually do the service of that to our audience and are honest about our intentions as well. So anyway, yeah, we're gonna wrap it up here. This has been pretty awesome. Any last
Two things.
thoughts?
Number one, Brandon Cole was the guy you saw in that thumbnail.
Okay, rock on.
And he said he'll talk to us anytime about Freemasonry. So that would be awesome.
Dude, get him in here.
Get him on.
Get him in here. Does he have George Washington's apron? That's all I want to know.
He probably does. And then
cool.
Chris Murphy, who became a Telestial member just recently.
Yeah. Welcome to the Telestial Kingdom, dog.
Yes, says Taliban Mormonism exists. Very emphatically on the exists. I can't say it the way it was
Mormonism?
written. Yeah.
So what, we have a good missionary effort in the Middle East or what?
No. I think that was added when we were talking about like Under the Banner of Heaven and how there are probably militant Mormons out there.
Yeah, but see, I don't like. To me, it is the furthest stretch in Under the Banner of Heaven. They're so desperate. See, this is why, like, we just did a video. Like, stay tuned. We just did a video showing some insane claims of Bill Reel going after Kwaku's underwear. You know, in a way that's just like
that was
nuts.
weird. That was really weird.
John DeLynn saying that the church got his TikTok account taken down. Like these crazy wild claims. Like these people are so desperate because resentment, did you say, is the most deadly of poisons, Jacob, or something like that? Like
it's the poison that you drink. It's like, and then forgiveness is actually how you get the poison of resentment out of your system.
So just that they're so resentful that they abandon all reason and decency and goodness and intellectual honesty in pursuit of just punching back at their perceived enemies, you know, that they stumble over themselves into accidentally endorsing just absolute fallacies. I interviewed one of the Lafferty brothers. I interviewed him directly. Brad was there. You know what I'm saying? I know these people. I have personal relationships with them and have talked with them. They, what some would say, went crazy, but were anti-governmental people. You know what I'm saying? During the Reagan era, there was a huge issue with taxation. Taxation is theft. This is like the great birthchild era of libertarianism. You know what I'm saying? And these people were excommunicated by the church. The church said no. Like, guys, what you're doing, like, our church is the biggest pushover for the governments of the world, for heaven's sakes. Look at how they behaved during the pandemic, okay? The church office building was given alley-oops to the statists and the globalists, for heaven's sakes. And we justify it through scripture saying, well, in the book of Romans, it says that we believe in being subject to Caesar and the articles of faith say we believe in being subject to rules and principalities and kingdoms and all this other stuff. Like, the most pathetically pro-government people on earth are boomers in the church office building, okay? And so when even, like, the church is coming out and saying, like, whoa, hold your horses. Okay, whoa, this isn't doctrine. Yes, we believe this is better than one man die than an entire nation dwindle in unbelief, but you're not a prophet. Like, they work with you so hard to avoid excommunication, okay, that if you're going to be so psycho, you're starting your own militia in the forest, that you get excommunicated by the 1970s Mormon church for what you're saying, then I'm sorry, you are so off the rails. There's no association. But they try and take everything these brothers did and just cram it in every associative way possible, that they just, they get to the point of just like doing desperate acts that make the, I don't know, they just completely lose their credibility. It's weird. And they get so much wrong that it's like, what? It becomes incoherent. They would rather make an incoherent and unlistenable dialogue track to try and make the Mormon church look bad than provide entertainment.
And the trouble is, Under the Banner of Heaven just has some very, very serious historical problems to the tune of, like, there are some antis out there who are like, yeah, this isn't good. Like, this doesn't really help. And they're right, because then when people see that the claims that Under the Banner of Heaven is making about history ends up being very off in a lot of places, it's like, crap, now you have to fact check it anyway to figure out what it was, you know? Like, this is the same thing that people complained about the church doing. They're like, the church doesn't present the history well, but then Under the Banner of Heaven presents this horrible narrative that isn't even close to right. To the point that I've seen people online say, well, no, they were just presenting what the Laffertys thought was the history. And I'm like, yeah, if the show had presented it that way, maybe I'd believe it. But no, that's not how the show presents it at all. So It's interesting, and I do think there are things like there are things worthy of criticism in the church, and we should be careful of them and watch for what those things are. There are false doctrines in the church, and we can push those away and recognize what they are.
Yeah, and Uchtdorf donated to him. I mean, oh my gosh. Okay,
But yeah.
so we got to go, man. But Torta321 says, everybody turn on the bell notifications. Yes, we're going to chill out. You know what I'm saying? We're going to let the outro happen. We're going to end here. But please, everybody, before you go, make sure that you subscribe to the channel. I know that 51% of you still look us up in the search functions. I know there's a lot of people that don't want to actually sign up for a YouTube account, or they watch it on desktop and they got a phone where they want to watch it through the browser instead of getting it on the app or whatever. But make sure that you like our video. It helps us out a ton. If you feel okay creating a YouTube account, okay, create the YouTube account. I don't care if you only subscribe to us and you use that Gmail account that you only use for nebulous stuff, all right, or anonymous stuff. But please subscribe. It helps us get the word out better. And make sure that on the YouTube app, that besides pressing subscribe, which puts us in your queue, you hit the bell so you get alerted of every video, because we get amazing analytics here. And I know that about half of our audience and half of our views are unsubscribed, but you will get more and better content if you do. So, Spencer Marsh, forget you, dog. You know
That's not a Backstreet Boys song. Say bye, bye, bye. Come on.
It says, Cardon, the Backstreet Boys called and they want their fit back. Oh, I thought he said shirt back. So no, he said their fit back.
But
like
that's your shirt and your hat.
That's the hip way of
outfit.
saying your clothing.
Okay, cool.
It was a worse insult than you thought it was. It turns out to be.
No, it's okay. Backstreet's
even
back.
get it.
All right. You know what I'm saying? Actually, guys, I still have video of when I performed a Backstreet Boys song with our all-men's show choir in a sequin vest.
Oh.
There is some serious leverage against me that is
That's
floating
amazing.
out there in cyberspace. Actually, no, not in cyberspace. It hasn't gotten uploaded yet, but on a digital CD, because back then, digital was still new enough that they were, anyway, I'll have to show that one day. It's actually really funny.
Okay.
Say it,
also,
then we gotta go.
We want everybody, anyone who wants to, go find Thoughtful Faith, Jacob's channel. Subscribe to his channel as well. He's got some really awesome videos on there.
Thanks, guys.
And we have some people very desperate to hear Kwaku's goblin story.
Oh.
Can we end on that, or do we want to do that as a separate?
Well, we should make
it
a
is kind of
standalone
long,
video.
huh?
We'll do it in the next one. There's a teaser.
Yeah, I fought a goblin.
This is
And the
Midnight
goblin
Moments.
won.
See you guys in the next video. Do.